Alright, here we go. Anderson Manufacturing AM15 Utility Review. So this is not my first AR-15. This is actually my third. My first was a Ruger AR-556, and my second was a build with a PSA upper and an Anderson lower. I always noticed Anderson getting brought up as a budget-friendly entry-level AR brand, and I often heard the words poverty pony associated with them. But I figured with how prevalent they are, they can't all be bad, right? I already had some experience with their lowers, and besides the roll pin holes being a bit too tight, I can't say it's all bad for the money. Next I'll say, Anderson's mil-spec triggers are quite nice in my experience. After both the stock Ruger and the replacement trigger I put in my Ruger wouldn't reset, I took a chance and bought an Anderson trigger on the recommendation that they have a very positive reset, and they do work pretty reliably. Now initially I wanted to pair an Anderson upper with the lower I bought from them, just because I thought they would match up well. But upon searching their site, I came to the realization that Anderson's complete uppers cost the same exact amount of money as their complete rifles, and that's how I ended up just purchasing this gun. I did have high hopes for this gun, but at the same time I was cautiously optimistic too, knowing that if I did encounter any small issues, I could likely just swap out parts, not thinking I would discover anything that would stop me or stop the rifle dead in its tracks. And spoiler alert, this gun did not make it anywhere close to its first 1,000 rounds. My first impressions for this gun were very positive. It had almost all the features you could ever want on a modern AR-15. I like that it comes with Magpul furniture. I still opted to change out the buttstock for my favorite, the B5. It came with the standard mil-spec charging handle with this weird wing attached. I always swap these out for Radeon Raptors. A really good decision, as you'll see. Standard 16-inch barrel with 1 in 8 rifling. It uses a carbine-length gas system, which I would have preferred a mid-length, but oh well. I love the 15-inch M-LOK handguard with a smooth top that leads to a small Picatinny slot at the end, which gives you maximum sight radius if you choose to use iron sights. I ended up throwing a 3x prism on mine, and I did manage to get some decent accuracy out of it when I did shoot it out to 100 yards. I'd say about like tennis ball sized groups. But here's where things start to go wrong, the shooting. But before that, I just wanted to point out real fast that there were some magazine compatibility issues with the two Anderson lowers I have. Even before I took them to the range, there was a minor problem that like a good 25% of my magazines wouldn't drop free when empty. Both P-mags and aluminum mags alike. Not a big deal, I just segregated out the ones that wouldn't work. Like I said, things are tight on the lower receivers. This leads me to the issues I ran into at the range. This AM15 did not function reliably enough, or really didn't perform consistently. The crux of the problem was that it failed to fire every magazine or so. Like at a ratio of 1 out of every 20 or 30 shots, I'd say. I'd get a dead trigger and then just cycle out the issue round. I thought to myself, there must be a break-in period or something. It definitely wasn't the ammo, as I would shoot this gun side by side my other ARs. I shot primarily a mix of Winchester White Box, Frontier, and Fiocchi 5.56, but also like the bulk pack of like 200 rounds of Herder's 223. My first remedy was to attempt to clean out the chamber and the bulk carrier group, hoping to get out any factory grease that might have been causing like failures to go into battery. This seemed to help for about 100 rounds before the problem started reoccurring. Now upon cleaning out the bolt, I noticed small pieces of brass falling out of the firing pin channel. Now, I've discovered the source of the problem. Small bits of primer are getting lodged inside the BCG. I go through my brass cases and sure enough, a few of my spent cases have popped primers. Again, neither of my other ARs are popping primers with this ammo. So, I figure the easiest solution might just be to swap out the BCG for a higher quality one. So I throw a Faxon bolt in, and things go well for another 100 rounds or so. But then again, failures to fire start occurring, and at its worst, I'm getting my bolt stuck closed on live rounds, and I have to mortar my gun just to unload it. And upon cleaning out my bolt, I find the same problem of tiny bits of brass clogging up the action, which must be what's causing things to lock up on me. Curiously, I've thrown the Faxon bolt into other ARs, and it seems to run no problem. It's the gun unloaded, but it's still locking up empty. My best guess is there's some sort of like headspace issue. Maybe things are a bit too tight in the chamber, causing the base of the brass to like shave off or something. The headspace gauge, I can't confidently verify that. My next best guess is maybe like both my firing pins are slightly out of spec. That could be an easy fix, but I'm hesitant to waste any more ammo or money on this gun if it's going to keep seizing up on me. And thank God I chose an extended charging handle, or I don't know if I could have gotten this gun open. So now I'm at the point where even if I do figure out what the problem is, I don't know if I can fix it. And even if I could, I don't know if I could restore my confidence in this gun. And when you consider the price of headspace gauges, it might just be easier to buy a completely new upper and like roll the dice again. I feel like I've ended up spending more money trying to get this gun up and running when I could have just spent that same money buying a mid-tier brand, like maybe like a Smith & Wesson or another Ruger, or like maybe like a Springfield or a Zion, I don't know. I really feel the heart of any AR is how reliable the gun runs, and everything else is kind of like tertiary, you know, as you can just like change things out to your liking. I'm about 90% sure the problem lies in the chamber and not the ammo or the bolt carrier group. The ejection pattern was consistent at the 4 o'clock, and if anything, I think the recoil felt like maybe overgassed, or I don't think it was like undergassed or anything like that. Let me know if anyone else has encountered like problems like this with your rifle. So that's my review of the Anderson AM15. I can't say I really recommend this rifle as your first AR-15. Hopefully I can salvage the lower receiver. Maybe find like a cheap upper on sale. I still stand by their triggers. I really like their lower kits too. Thanks for watching.